But yeah. So, welcome to the stream. We're gonna be looking at Contact today, which is a track from my album. My album 2, of course, not the first one. Yeah, I got my project open, got all the things here. Yeah, I think we should start off by just running through the whole thing, like, one time, and just listening to it. Although, keep in mind, this is not mastered, so this is, like, the unmastered version. Which means, it's gonna sound a little different. Oh yeah, what's up? It's gonna sound a little bit different from what I got, like, on the album. The one on the album sounds a little bit harder than this. But, yeah, I mean, I could compensate for it with a bit of EQ or something like that. Oh well, let's just go for it. Yep. I knew this wasn't gonna work. Yep. Let's see if we make it through the breakdown. It's also when I scroll around. So yeah, that's Contact from my album. If you're interested in it, you can check out the album here, I guess. I mean, wait, is there like do I have like a fan link? Yeah, I do. Here it is. Copy it. SoundCloud, you are amazing. I love it. Oh no, you can't select your own name. Here's if you want to check out the album, it's over here. And yeah, I mean, this is just the tune itself. Doing quite well. Sounds so much fatter with the mastering. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that is the song, and now we're gonna, like, so the format I thought about, like, for this specific stream is I'll just let people ask me questions, and whatever you want to see about this project, just ask away in the chat, and I'll try to answer everyone. I'll take, like, I don't know, an hour or two, and, like, just, you know, try to go through everything you want to know about this song. Because, yeah, I mean, last time I had, like, a format where I just went through everything one by one, and it was kind of like, I don't know, I feel like people in chat were a little bit alienated by that, like they weren't really sure if they can ask questions or if they're just supposed to be quiet or whatever. Like, you know, I want people to ask me stuff. Like, you know, I think that's a much better way to do things, when people just straight up say, what do you want? Like, how did you do this? How did you do that? Like, I want to know how this works. Okay, so Abzo asks about the snare. So this is the drums, the drum track. Let me see. We got the kick. This kick is actually sampled from my other track, Go Back Home in Time. So that kick comes from this tune right here. Same thing, but it's actually been edited quite a bunch. So it goes through a bunch of processing. Like, this is like compression, clipping, everything you can probably possibly imagine, you know. A little high-end clipping there. I can go more in detail about this at a later point, but like what it does is it goes into this bit crusher, sort of. Like, you know, this isn't a bit crusher, it's like sample reduction to 11.025 kilohertz. Like, I'm running it at like a really low sample rate that creates that crunchy high end. And then the snare right here. Listen to the original sample. Very loud. So it also doesn't play. It's because I disabled the effects here. FL is a complicated program, so this is the snare. Yep. That is going through like a bunch of dispersers, so this like delays the low frequencies. It can change the punch, like the low end punch of the snare is being changed by that. Not very obvious. What's happening here is I'm actually using volume shaping to create the snare sound. So without the volume shaping, it's just this, right? So it's just like a noise sample, but with the shaping, it becomes like this little sweep, you know? That's like the one you want to focus on. It's like, so I'm doing that with that volume envelope, and then that gets compressed together here in the buzz. Comes together quite nicely. And there's obviously a lot of different layers to the snare. Like over here I got... It starts off with just one layer. I think later on I bring in more. No, actually I don't. Wait, do I? Like a slight layer there, but that's not really doing much. Oh yeah, here we go. That's the same concept. I'm just pitching down like a drum machine kind of sound. Like is it a snare? Yeah, it's a snare. So I can. Sounds more like a tom, really. But yeah, I picked like a slow layer on purpose so I could make the snare thicker. And that's being clipped, and I got the same kind of volume shape on this. So it's kind of like the kick. The kick is ducking away the snare, and then we only hear like the click of the kick drum, and the snare itself doesn't even have any click. Without the kick, Sounds like that. So the snare is really just like a little noise top that's going on top of the kick. So it's very simple, very straightforward. You know, it's just like, if you want to make a snare like that, just take a really aggressive kick, and then instead of like a snare sound, you have like a rising white noise or something like that, and then you layer it on top of the kick, and then you put both of them together in a drum bus. That's how I've done like a lot of snares. Okay, let's see what the next question here was. So the snare. Okay, I did the snare. If there's any more question about the snare, just keep asking away. I'll go from bottom to top. I got my chat here, you know, so I'll just be going from top to bottom. Bottom to top. I'm so dumb. So I'll be reading them from like the earliest to the latest question. Let's see. What piano and what processing do you have on the piano on the break? So let's go to the breakdown. Yep. So that's like there, right? So that's just like a contact library. The one I always use. Giant. I don't think I don't think that one was that expensive. I don't remember, but yeah. That's that, and this is going into like. So that's just the piano itself, and then I got a bunch of EQing. This is just like to address like individual notes that come out a little bit too loudly on top of the pad. Like, you know, there's like a pad behind it. So this is like to address individual notes that were kind of layering with the pad uncomfortably. So that's always done like in post, like these EQs, I always do them later on when things are coming together. This right here is just to create more air. Like, I wanted the piano to be kind of softly played, but still have the brightness. So I kind of went for a softer piano sound and just artificially boosted it up like that. So, yeah. And the compression and such, that's really just like to address all these mid-range problems here that the piano creates. And then this is just for thickness, like, you know, if you remove that. Like, even if it was loudness matched, it wouldn't sound as thick, just because like the parallel compression here, like, you know, this is parallel compression, and that means you're putting a bit of the compressed sound, a bit of the dry sound in there, and that usually is very good for dynamic elements like vocals or pianos that are played very dynamically. That can always help with like creating a very natural sounding, growing and evolving sound without it getting like overbearing over time. Okay, I might have trouble keeping up with the chat a little bit, but I will try my best. So whenever you ask a question, I'm just trying to go from like top to bottom, so the older questions get answered first, and that's why it's going to take me a while to address everything. So yeah, if something isn't clear enough, just like ask away. I also have like a live chat here as well, so I can also see what people are saying right now, in case I'm being confusing. But yeah, feel free to just chat and like say something. That's all good. Thank you for the host, DocFox986. Awesome. Yeah, welcome to the stream. So I think the piano is probably addressed now. I think most of the good sound of the piano comes from the notes. It's the notes themselves, because if the notes are good, then... Thank you for the host. Thank you for the host, Mindpulse. Thank you for the host, Chaos Theory. So many hosts. Crazy, crazy. Thank you very much. Like, you know, if you do everything right with the notes and the velocities themselves, then you don't have to do too much processing to get it to sound good. Like, then the reverb and the compression and such is just going to serve to, like, enhance what you have instead of, like, you know, having to shape it. Okay, next question, I think, was Jeb _ generic question, but how was the main bass made? Take a look. Talking about that one, right? The drop. That thing. have a look. Oops. I always damage my own projects while I break them down. Okay, so got a lot of layers here. I'm gonna turn off the sidechain just to a lot of sidechain on these things. So I got a little DX bass. Like this is like there's like 5 layers to this bass. The main things are Harmor, and then there are some that are just DX. You know, these don't really do much. Like there's like a gate on these. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so these are really just to add more motion into the bass, because like without that, right, it sounds a little bit dry. When you add that, adds that little bit of motion, so that's what these DX are for. And yeah, I went for like a more metallic sound on these. The motion is made with a flanger, so like this is basically just like a little EQ sweep going up and down. Without that, it sounds like this. That's like the motion of the bass. The main thing is just like a sub, I guess. Yeah. So now the main part of the sound here, that's basically a saw wave with a pluck, but then I did a lot of things with the phase. We've got this very strange sound, and then I copied it over and pitched it up a little bit. So it's just a saw wave, but there's a bunch of messy harmonic phase stuff going on in Harmor, and that causes that really wet sound on the pluck. But yeah, it's just a low pass filter going down really fast, you know, and a saw wave with the phasing. So that's also being a little distorted. Cursor causes that low end lag. Yeah, those are just EQs and limiting to keep it in check. And then the other main layer is this one. That's probably the most obvious one. That's like the one that takes most of the attention, you know, right? You got that, but then you also have all these other things below it. And that's what really creates a strong bass pluck, when you have, like, you don't let one synth do the job, but you have multiple jobs inside the bass sound, and multiple synths take care of them. So like the motion is being done by one thing, then the main beef is being done by another, and then the texture is being done by yet another layer. So yeah. Like this is like kind of a, it sounds a little wooden, like a little wooden tube kind of sound, right? And then this one, like a, I guess this sounds like a normal saw pluck to me. Yeah, that's like the main layer. And then these are just for width, you know, it's supposed to make the sound feel wide. Yeah, that's how the bass works. Then it's being sidechained really heavily. Like that. That's a very unconventional sidechain right there. Where is it? Wait, this is actually... I know what this is. So this is actually the reverb. Whoops, I messed up. So this is like the reverb channel. This is like 100% reverb right there. And that's being pumped like that. The sidechain for the bass itself is pretty standard. Yeah, who cares? So that's the bass sound. It's just these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers. But yeah, this is also heavily affected by the bit crusher here. So without the bit crusher, or sample rate reduction, if you want to be really accurate, just a clean pluck. But then you add the sample rate reduction. Yeah, I should probably talk about sample rate reduction right now, because like I realized it's not really clear what that is. So I'm gonna open up a Harmor here, right? And right now we have like a really normal sample rate, like we got 44.1 kilohertz. That means, I'm opening up the span. So like this is like a frequency spectrum. It shows us like all frequencies from bass to high frequencies. So if I take this, right, that's like a normal tone. And now if we make it really bassy, it's gonna move to the left in the graph. And if we make it really high, it's gonna move to the right. So that's basically what I'm saying here. This is just like bass and then treble. But like you can see like we have like this much space here in the spectrum, right? Like I can go up and down freely here. But if I reduce the sample rate with this plugin, so this is just going to reduce the sample rate for us, right? Suddenly all this stuff starts appearing, right? And this is because if I lower the sample rate, the signal gets worse at reproducing higher frequencies, and that's why we get this distortion up there. So like if you look at it visually, you'll be able to see that it basically mirrors what's happening above the limit back down. Right, you can see like it's like being mirrored back down. So like what's happening, what's coming up here is being mirrored back down. Let me see if I can get the scaling to be yeah, there you go. So it's basically a perfect mirror image. I guess I could draw something here if I wanted to. Anyway, yeah, that's not the point. So what I'm saying is the entire song is going into this thing, and these distortions up there are what's making the bass sound so crunchy. So like without it, and then with it, right? That's because I'm doing the same thing in here. Then I'm like slightly EQing it to make it a little cleaner. That's basically on the entire track. So the entire track is going through this thing. Without that, pretty boring. But with it, yeah, now we got that character. So yeah, that's a big part of this whole thing. Like, you know, all the sounds are designed a certain way, but then this on the master is also causing a lot of the character in the track. And yeah, that was the whole point of this project. I wanted to make a song where the master is basically, it's just like maybe a quarter of the bandwidth that you would usually have in a song. So like instead of 44.1 kilohertz, we have 11.025, which is pretty low. That's not usually done. That's like super bad, like in terms of quality. But I loved it a lot, so that's what I did. Anyway, I think that's it for the bass right now. Chaos3 asks, I love if you went over your synth washes like in the intro and other parts in the song. So like, I'm guessing this pad. This pad right here. So the writing on this is pretty simple. Basically just two chords. Just these two chords over and over. But then on the first one I'm leaving out the root note, the bottom note. Here I'm substituting that for the second, no, it's like the 6 or 7 or something like that. Leading tone. Oh, whatever. And then here I still have like the same chord as over there, but I'm also adding like a lower bass note to it. It's like I could also add this one if I wanted to, like the, right, because these like independent of the chord. So yeah, that's for the writing, and the actual synth itself is just a saw wave. And what I have is I have like a low pass filter on it, 2 of them actually. And this one has a double cone resonance on it, so that basically means like it's doing 2 little peaks, like 2 little EQ peaks on the sound, and that's supposed to give it a little more interesting motion, because I think I have these, no I don't. I have these automated? Yeah, I have this one automated, so this one is like a normal filter, so I can just go like that. But because this is like a super layered project, so there are like filters everywhere. That means there's like many layers of filtering here. Therefore, what I do in the synth is hardly like consequential at this point, because it's just going through so many things. But yeah, then that has a little filter called, it's not a filter, it's like Prism. So what Prism does is it kind of distorts the harmonics. So like instead of having like, you know, you open up Homer, right? And like usually you'll have like a saw wave. If I open this here, it'll be really easy to visualize what Prism actually does. So I reset this, and now I got the saw wave. But if I turn the Prism up, now that's really weird. You probably make the THX sound with this. I don't know, something like that. So, whatever. So that's how this sound here is made. Like, the eerie kind of spaciness of it comes from that. See that? And then that's going into a chorus, really fat chorus with, like, fat resonances. So, like, if I turn this off, it starts getting a lot more static. But with it enabled, it gets these little, it sounds a little bit like these, I'm not really sure how to explain it, but you know, it just has like that spacey sound to it. It's just like so, like it's kind of sparkly in a way. I'm not really sure how to describe that, but it's beautiful. Yeah, we got that. And for the bass, it's really just like another saw wave. Just a saw wave with a filter and some reverb and some unison, so nothing really special going on here. But yeah, that's what I do for that. Go through the next question. Ooh, yeah, I want to know how the whole thing was made, no exception. Yeah, I mean, you can just keep asking me. Like, if there's something you haven't seen, just drop a question in the chat, and I'll go there and show you. I just, you know, I kind of don't really want to just randomly go through things because, you know, it's just kind of unengaging, I guess. I want people to, you know, be engaged in what I'm doing here and just, you know, tell me what they want to see and I'll do it. How did you do the... Okay, Jinozuka Kuma. Is that your name? Yeah. Asks, how did you do the flanging automation like that? I suppose you mean the automation in the drop over here, like this thing. With that right there. What I'm doing is I have a flanger there with a lot of feedback, and it's not doing anything on its own. Like the rate is at 0, the depth is at 0, so it's basically just static, and then I'm automating the delay knob on it. So this basically decides what frequency I'm emphasizing on the bass. And I decided to do that just because it's very unusual and like there it is. So we got our bass here. It's just a sustain saw and going through a bunch of distortion plugins. So without that, distortion there, distortion there. So it's basically just low pass and then a lot of distortion to create like a noisy layer. Then the flanger basically just it imprints like a different note onto the bass we already have. So like we can basically just play our own melody with that. To make it more extreme as well. So yeah, but that doesn't sound good, so. That's how that was done, and then I just basically sat there and tried to figure out a good pattern. It took me a while. Like, that took me like an hour. then yeah, then what I'm also doing is I'm doing like a call and response type thing with the bass. Like the sustained bass and the pluck bass are kind of cooperating here. Like they're antagonistically arranged, but they're cooperating in this thing. Yeah, this is gonna sound very funny with the flanger. You'll notice like the flanger is the flange bass is kind of doing like a pattern here with just like playing at the end of the phrase and then on the downbeat. It's your average swing pattern, but then that didn't feel like groovy enough, so I added this to fill out the gaps. Then together with the kick drum, that just created a nice rhythmic relationship there. Yeah. Alright, I think that's it for the flanger question. You see, that bass is so cool. Damn. Thank you very much. FL keys. Yeah, that was FL keys, actually. The piano is FL keys. When did the intro of Contact get shaped with the Sky Cleaver outro? Like, did Contact was the way it was before the Sky Cleaver track arrived? Yeah, actually, Contact has been exactly that the entire time. Like, if I go to my SoundCloud, I think I should be able to find it. But what did I call it, though? Did I call it? Forgot what I called it. Something like Song 2? Yeah. So this is what I started. I think this is what I started? Yeah, this is the first idea. This is like the very first version. You had like a really long pad there. So it's basically already what we had like in the final track, but a lot longer. Then I just did this because I, you know, when I make my songs, I don't really worry about the sound design. I just kind of write it down, and then later on I worry about it. You know, this is literally just me like sitting outside with my laptop and messing around. That's all that is. It sounded like that. Then I wanted to do like a drop here. I wanted to do it like this. Yeah, that was the original idea, but it just didn't flow so well, so I just scrapped it and went for this instead. Yeah. But yeah, this intro, it's pretty much been there from the start. And so like I knew that when I did like the first song of the album, you know, I knew I had to like make a clean cut outro for this, like, you know, a clean pad. So that song wraps up with a nice pad. And then you'll also notice like all the songs are produced like in the same key. This was major, like D major, I believe. Major? No. Yeah, it was D major. I would in D minor. Well, not for this chord. Whatever. So it was just, that was kind of planned from the start, yeah. I just wrote everything in the key of D, and then I was like, yeah, that's gonna be simple. Like a pad at the end, and then a pad at the start, and it's gonna be a nice transition. Okay, so somebody asked how I make the bass wide. I already went over that, but I can just show what I did. So like when I have my bass layer, I have like Let me go over here. Oops. Struggle in there. There you go. So the main bass got like layers that are stereo. These just have like unison on them that makes them stereo. Also using this thing called wait, where is it? Interesting. I guess this one is just stereo purely from the stereo spread on the mixer, so... I have like individual layers that are doing the width. And on the other one, like the sustained bass... Wait, where is it? Where is that? That one actually isn't wide. That one is just completely mono. So that's 100% mono, actually. What's up, Have, in the chat? What's up, what's up? Yeah. Let me see, what's, so Coffee Lake asks, do you add an additional sub with that bass, or that's enough for the whole bass part? So every single bass in this track has, like, its own subtrack, I believe. Yep. So that's a subtrack for the sustained bass right there. Little square wave with some distortion on it. Actually a saw wave with distortion. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't really remember these details all that well because it's been a while since I've produced this. See when I started this? July. Nice. 5,000 notes, that's not bad. 290 plugins. Wow. 28 hours spent on it, that's crazy. Sure. Man, I should do like a compilation of how many hours it took in total to make this album, because like there's like a lot of time in this thing. So yeah, that's like the layer for the sustained bass, and then the pluck. There it is. The pluck is a square. Pluck bass sound, the sub bass, the sub bass sound from the pluck is just like a little square, and then it's low passed in Hummer. So with sub, you always want to be as simple as possible. Like if your sub is really, really simple and just sustained and clean, then you can't really go wrong. Like nothing can go wrong then. Yeah, so that's it for the sub. Cormac says hi. I say what's up. Everything beyond 0 decibels, I hate you. Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're inside the box, you can go as high as you want. Like, you know, this doesn't really matter because it's going into this track. Then on this track, it's being clipped down to be below 0. So it doesn't really matter. Like, what happens between these two tracks is basically nothing. It's just sent exactly as it is. So, like, this is just like a visual thing. It doesn't do anything to the sound. See. Fractals? Oh, because of that's when I did the sample rate thing. Okay, I'm still catching up with the chat. I'm like, about 15 minutes behind. Let's see. Something about Gesaffelstein? I don't know. I don't know if this was asked already, but why did you choose to make this in FL12? I didn't. This was actually made in FL11. I just ported it over to FL20 to see if it used less CPU in FL20, and it doesn't. So, yeah. That was kind of unnecessary, but yeah, I guess that's just how it is. I mean, I don't really mind. It would run equally bad in both settings. I just realized my mic is stereo again. I should probably fix that. Okay, now we're in mono. Is that better? Should be a little better. I made it stereo again last stream, didn't I? For the meme. Oh no. Alright, well, I'll be waiting for more questions here, because, I mean, you know, heard it in stereo, really. Most people are like, no, I don't want to hear stereo. No. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Well, you can go ahead and ask me more stuff if you want. So... ASMR. I'm not doing ASMR. I could do like beard ASMR. Should I do that? Beard ASMR. Like you just scrape it. Wait, I gotta turn off the noise gate for that. Okay. How's that? You like that? I feel very filthy right now. Okay. Just gonna put mono. Okay. And now the ASMR is over. Can you make a little drop challenge in 10 minutes from scratch? No. I'm doing a track breakdown, dude. I'm not doing the production challenge right now. But yeah, disgusting? You think my beard is disgusting? Are you serious? Most well-kept beard in the history of beards. How do you process your drums? Sure. Go there. Got a drum group here. So all the drums are coming together into this, where really not much happens. It's just like a bit of a filter here in case I need to do that. Let's go through it channel by channel. So like this is kick drum. Just being EQ'd a little bit. Then it's going into this guy. What's happening on this kick drum here is I wanted to have a really drum machine sounding kick, so what I did was I emphasized like this little peak there, and without that it sounds a little more boring. So if I reset that, just a very clean decay. But with that, got like this little ring to it, right? And that's like really unnatural, and I mean, it's unnatural sounding, but that's just a characteristic that a lot of like older drum machine kind of kicks had, so you put that on there. Gives it like this decay that's not really supposed to be there. And make it sound weird, as if like it's unintentional, and I kind of like that when things sound a little bit unintentional. So yeah, then... Wait, what the heck? Oh yeah. Just enhancing like the transient there, like I'm just trying to bring out more of the click on the kick drum. So like it's shooting down really fast. Enable all of this stuff first, and then just go through one by one. Got like our normal kick there. Like this is just a dry kick with nothing on it. Then we're doing the EQ. Adding like that low end punch. I mean the low end lag, I guess. And then this is gonna make it clicky. Right? So now you're noticing we have like a lot of bass but no high end. Which is why I did this, right? Then that. So what is the point of that? Like I'm EQing down the low end and then I'm EQing it back up. The point of that is I'm using a clipper here. So what happens is I'm clipping the high end more than the low end. Because I'm cutting the low end away. So without that, sounds like this. Not very pretty. But here I can like EQ it and focus the distortion on the part I want to clip. So that's the high end in this case. I'm cutting away the bass, then I'm clipping it, and then I'm adding the bass back in. So that's what I'm doing there. Very unusual, but it works. Then this is basically just to tighten up the kick a little bit. Right, it sounds a little bit too big now, but when I tighten it up, much cleaner. I just saturated it. This is just to make it harsher. And I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, I'm guessing this was done in post to like enhance the click a little bit more. And yeah, then it's being bit crushed right there. I mean, I always say bit crushed. It's sample rate reduction. That's how it gets so fat. But yeah, what I do is I put like this. I put this in first, like this sample reduction thing, and then I tweak the kick. So that's also like one thing you can try when you're EQing your own things. Like you just first you put the effect on you want, and then you EQ it like before, like you EQ the stuff before it's going into the final effects chain. The snare is really just like distorted, like just super, then filtered here. And then this guy right here is like a free chorus. This just adds stereo spread to something, but I'm not really sure what I was doing there because I monoed it back together. So I guess this is like an oversight in production. But yeah, what does it matter? Just the kind of things that happen when you finish a song, like you kind of make some mistakes, I guess. Why do you have the saturator on the high preset? Well, why not? I mean, can try the other ones. Now it's keeping low. I guess the high one just sounded better to me in the moment. Like, you know, this isn't something I really think about too much. It's just like, okay, I can try this, but I can also try this one, you know, or that one, you know. Then one of them ends up being the solution. So this is just like a fun part. I know this is not the mastered version, but how do you master it? I think I pretty much just, I have like this compressor here, and what this compressor does, like this is in the project. It's actually the wrong thing, isn't it? Let me see. Wonder... That's interesting. I forgot that was there. Now I'm curious, because I feel like this setting got messed up. Does it... Yeah, that setting definitely got messed up, so like it's supposed to be a lot shorter. What that does is it compresses the bass harder than the kicks, because the bass is leveled, like it's, the gain staging is like the bass is the loudest thing, and then the drums are quieter behind that, so any processing I do on the master is attacking the bass harder than the drums. And I always do that, like I always try to mix everything louder than the drums and then push it back in the mastering, and the drums kind of come forward on their own in the master. So that's what I do. What else? Yeah, nothing fancy going on here, just a bunch of clipping, bit of compression, bit of limiting. Not really anything too crazy. But yeah, I had to address these things up there, so that's why that, like, the high end basically doesn't exist, it's just a result of the sample reduction, and then that's being EQ'd to not be too piercing. Yeah. A lot going on here. Do you gain stage to minus 12 decibels? No, because it doesn't matter. Like, it basically just doesn't matter. You can mix at minus 12, you can mix at minus 50, you can mix at plus 5. It really doesn't matter until you bounce to a 16 or 24-bit file. So, before then, it's kind of whatever. Like, you know, I don't really pay attention to levels. It's kind of like, you know, it's just so inconsequential. Like, it does absolutely nothing. I know that some people get really, like, nerdy about this stuff and like, oh wow, look at how clean my mix is by looking at the visual, and then it's like, well, who cares? It doesn't do anything, it doesn't sound any different. Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, I don't really have any like consistent rules where I do like, okay, this has to be this many decibels and that has to be that many decibels, because like, from my experience, that never really works. Like, that always sounds a little bit like you're just slightly off the mark. I think it can be good as like a baseline thing. I mean, like a baseline thing, you know, where you'd like try to have like a really rough mix or rough balance and whatever, sure. But, you know, overall it's about like recognizing how these sounds fit together and tweaking it to like really fit. I don't really have any standard gain staging techniques. Yeah, we haven't talked about the hi-hats. Drum break, very subtle, but it's there. And what I'm doing with the hi-hats here is I'm having like I have like an A-B kind of pattern there. So like, I wonder where this is going. Oh, to the drum bus. That's nice. That's so crazy. Like, the drum bus just has this going on, and then this is like going outside the drum bus so that the, you know, the bit crusher, I mean the sample rate reduction. I keep saying, how often am I gonna make this mistake? I really wonder where I put these hi-hats though. There they are. So like, most of the hi-hat stuff is really just like going into that drum bus and being sample rate reduction, and then this one isn't. So like, we only have one hi-hat that's really making high frequencies, and that's this one. Without that one, no high end. We also have that noise sample. Anyway, yeah, so the rhythmical structure here is the first two bars are always like doing this thing. That's like a very standard beat, and then this has like a pumping white noise behind it. That tom on the offbeat, and then that creates this this interplay between like a really fast rhythm and then a really slow dragging one. Without those hats, it really loses a lot of flow. Right? It sounds boring when I add this back in. It's all in the high frequencies. You gotta create the right pumping sound in the high frequencies, and then that's how you get like the flow in the track. Super important. So boom here. That's cool. Yeah, so the sub, usually you'll make the sub louder than the mid bass. It depends on the track, of course, but like, usually you want to have like a nice downward slope there. So like in my case, nice clean downward slope. What's up, Cluda? How's it going? Yeah, so you usually want that, yeah. You have videos of you mixing a song from scratch? Nope, I don't think so. Nope, don't think I do that. But yeah, I mean, thing is this, I don't really want to force creativity on the stream. Like, I don't really want to force it. I just want to, you know, if I have the flow going on, then I might, you know, do something on the stream. But I'm not really into the whole, like, oh, I gotta make a song on the stream thing, because a lot of the time people don't even really want to see that. Just depends, you know. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Thursdays in general aren't very good days for streams. I'm not really sure if I should keep doing these track breakdowns on Thursday. Maybe I should move into Friday or something else. Yeah, I already do like feedback on Monday usually. But yeah, we will see. How is the sitar op thing? Sitar? How do you pronounce it? R, I think. So what I did was I collected a lot of really strange samples, and I went and collected like something off of this website. Like, it's just like an index. This has like a lot of really random sounds. I think if I actually if I put guitar or something. Hard to find. But yeah, I think I can open it here. So if I go effect. There it is. It's actually a grand piano. At least it's supposed to be one. So then this, like a guitar, a sustained guitar MIDI, I guess. But yeah, these are straight from this index here. So I'm not sure where this is from, but figured out that if you layer this grand piano with the guitar, it kind of gets like a sitar kind of sound. So it's very strange. Like, I didn't expect that to happen, but... Yeah, I mean... Somehow it did. Also, there's a little harmony layer there, but that's basically just like... That's basically just there to create more of a wide kind of feeling. What access does this thing have? Let me see. 75. Not bad. 88 on the playlist. Wow. Yeah. Oh, you couldn't send me a friend request on Discord. Yeah, that's okay. I'll send you one later. I just usually don't really add people as friends unless I need to, like, talk to them, like, individually a lot. I think my DMs are open anyway if you're in my server, so if you want to, like, you can join my server and then you'll be able to DM me because that's where I have my DMs open. But yeah, I think you already have that, so it doesn't matter. Demas asks, how are you making subs square, filtered, or saw? Well, in Hammer, you can basically just open Hammer, turn this on, they turn detune to 2, and now you got a square. Right, and now you can just filter it like that. Now you got yourself a sub. Detail around 150. I have to go to my... Okay, so you're... so Jeb in chat is asking for a sound at around 1 minute and 50 seconds. Oh! That thing. Yeah, that's also in this project, but it's what is it? It's a little keys piano sound, so it's basically also piano. Little arpeggio downwards, you know, like that. I think that's just in Sen or something like that. It's not a VST though, it's just literally a sample. Like, it's just this. There's no VST, it's just the sound. No, this is not Arabic. What are you talking about? What are these people saying? See. So what are you probably thinking about is Phrygian dominant. Not the same one. It's different. Oops. Oh, the square wave. Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't really do anything. Like, you know, you can just get a square wave from literally anywhere. So if you open 3x oscillator, there you go. There it is. Easy. But yeah. Let me see. But that's about it for that. How do you pronounce it? Is it sitar or is it sitar or is it... I have no idea, man. Is it sitar? I have no clue. Sitar. That's what it is, a sitar, okay? Yeah, wait, I turned the effects off. It sounds so different now. How do we make the visuals? Okay, so if you didn't know this, we have like a video up on YouTube. There it is. So you can save that and look at it. We have like a lot of visuals for every single song. So Contact right here, if it loads. Wait, I gotta turn the quality down to like 480 because I'm streaming. I forgot about that. Or YouTube is just gonna suck. Okay. There we go. So this was actually rendered out in Cinema 4D. Oops. So this is just like Cinema 4D stuff right here. I didn't do that. That was actually Lily. I'm not sure what her Twitter or whatever is right now. But if you go to my Discord, it's just Lily, so she's there. You can answer all your visual questions. Yeah, she did a really sick job on this. Thanks for the follow, Archer Aplixa. So yeah, this is all done in Cinema 4D. This right here is done After Effects. Like, I made that in After Effects, this entire thing. This is it's originally a painting by Amaryllis that I commissioned, but then I worked on it in Photoshop for a couple hours because it had to look right, and then animated it in After Effects. This right here. So the way this was done is I actually stemmed out like individual stems from the song. It's like the drums and the bass and stuff. So like this over here is just the bass. Wait, actually no, this is the drums right here. This is the drums, and that's the bass. On the right. So yeah, that's all that is. And these 3D elements, I mean, we can go over that like in a separate stream, how I did that. But like the thing is, I actually encoded like 3D models in sound. Then those 3D models were used as part of like the puzzle game that we had for the 2 album. Like right now it's just a normal track, but then like you'll see like the different 3D shapes. So these are actually like baked into the sound. Like that's in the sound. It just looks sick and it's awesome. So that's how that was done. We used like the FL Studio Wave Candy for that. So I just opened up Wave Candy, I put the stems in, then I recorded it, and then I put some effects on it. Yeah, this was also just done like in Cinema 4D. Let me go to this. I think this is the best part. No, I've never shown off how I did the 3D stuff, but I will in a separate stream. I don't really want to do everything in one stream because it's like me. Like I got time. I'm not in any rush. I can take my time. I want this to be like a wholesome experience where everybody can like get their questions in and talk about, you know, what do you want to know, and like we got time. We can figure this out. This here was actually done using like an After Effects plugin. My buddy Make that did this one. Like the visuals were kind of like a huge collaboration between everybody. Everybody did like one. Yeah, it was pretty fun. Seriously, like it was really stressful making this album, but it was a lot of fun as well, like seeing it come together and like collaborating. So this is basically the same process as the Golden Age one, but it's vertical, and the song is called Per Blue, of course. So actually what happened there was like a rendering mistake. These were supposed to be more stereo and like wider, but then they turned out as just lines. And we didn't really have time to go back and fix it, so we just rolled with this one. But you'll see, like, once there's something with stereo information, then this is gonna open up. Just wait for it. See that? And now? Like, if it's stereo, then it kind of moves around like that. Like, later on, when it breaks down, you'll be able to see, like, a lot of cool things here. And the slap bass up there. I feel like the other bass is completely mono, so it doesn't have any vectorscope data. Also, what's up, Carter? I just noticed you're here. What's up? Guessing Interlope has the most boring visuals. Yeah, we just wanted to have like a really simple thing here. I love this one. Have you done much with the FL Studio Z game editor? No. But yeah, we learned a lot about like visual and like album and whatever. Like, we learned a lot about stuff. So I think if I do this again, it's gonna be a lot different and probably a lot better. Thank you for the file of rewritten verdict. Wow, my pronunciation game is like A level today, like triple A. Anyway, so we did like we learned a lot from this, and we're just gonna change it up a little bit for the next one and do something else. Because, like, this was incredible. But, you know, you get older, you get more experienced. It does like this flashing, right? And that flashing wasn't there, like before it was rendered. So I thought everything's fine, and then it just starts flashing like that. I'm like, what the heck? Bro, if you think that's anime intro music, you haven't seen much anime. Did my stream crash? No, still good. Hello? Put a 1 in chat if you can hear me. Okay. Yeah, sorry for talking over this moment. So people thought this was gonna come together as like a queue or something like that, or like as, I don't know. But then it's just like a, well, you'll see. Yeah, we'll go over that in a different stream, I guess. Okay, actually, this one, when I made this one, it actually made me nauseous. Like this legit made me nauseous. I was like, ugh. Like it was like getting off a roller coaster. Because I was editing this for like, you know, for like half an hour straight. Just this, like, whoa. That was terrible. It gave me so much motion sickness. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't checked out the album yet, then go here, check it out, save it. I don't know, buy it if you wanna, or don't. Yeah, that's the music that I made last year. Back to this track, I guess. How do you think flat earthers feel about your albums? I don't think they feel any particular way, because like flat earth, it means like only earth is flat and all the other planets are actually like planets, so like I don't think what I do really conflicts with flat earth theory, but you feel free to prove me wrong on that. I'm not really emotionally invested in this, so I'm open to all suggestions regarding flat earth. Conspiracy friendly album, absolutely. Oh, so yeah, this is the track we're looking at. For anyone that just joined, you can ask me anything you want about this tune. What does the high cut automation do? I think it's just for the pad. Like I got this pad at the start. The pad here. Wait a second. Okay, yeah, you can see like something's being cut here. Guessing the high cut is like in the synth, maybe? Is it this? What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? I genuinely don't know right now. Oh! Is it? Could be. Let's see. Yep, that's it. So, like, this is the high cut. Apparently, I have, like, an EQ on the master that's removing high end. And it's only removing it at the start. So, like, only in the intro, the high cut is active, right? And then that goes down. Whoop. I'm guessing this is to soften up this pad. Like, you know, this pad sounded a little high-endy. So, like, if I do this... You know, those super high frequencies, they might not be that obvious, but apparently they bothered me enough to do this. You know, a little bit of a smoother transition. I'd probably do that in post now if I did that on a new tune. But whatever. Okay, Adam JLE asks, do you make those drum samples? And if not, what do you look for that type of drum? So, I mean, like, this is like my own sample pack. Where I got all my little, you know, little processed 80s snares and whatever. So these are just like drum machine snares with a little bit of clipping and so on. And my kick drums, I actually, like, I make them myself, and then I just resample them. So like the kick drum on this track is actually sampled from Go Back Home in Time. So like if I go here, like, this is literally just like the kick from my own track, like from this one. So that's all that is, and it has like a bunch of effects on it as well. So that's why it sounds so different. Like I already went over the kick processing. It has like an EQ on it, and a compressor, and like distortion, whatever. Deb asks, do you plan on releasing some of your 80s old school sounding drums and effects? Yeah, I mean, if there's interest, we might do like a little, like we got the sample pack company, right? Squad. Like I did like a giveaway on my Twitter actually. I'm gonna go over to my Twitter. Over here. So like we did a little giveaway on Twitter for our sample pack there. Right? So this is I just got visually confused by that. So that's what we did. So that, like, you know, we got a little company there and we're selling our samples. I mean, there's a chance that I could just, you know, make a pack that's basically just based on this sound if you want to. But I don't know, I gotta know if there's enough demand for that. I'll do like a retro essentials kind of pack if you wanna. But yeah, still I have to like know if people are interested in that. You would buy an 80s pack. Yeah, I might do one. Cause like, I mean, you know, I have so many of these sounds, I can basically just like make that pack. Like I can just like assemble it from my own sounds real quick. But yeah. I think generally when you're trying to make anything, it's good not to focus too much on what it's supposed to be and just focus on like making it sound good. Like I'm not trying to sound retro or 80s or anything. I just make something, you know. I never go like, oh, this has to sound that way or that has to sound like this way or whatever. I just go and make something. Like that's how you end up with like really interesting combinations. Yeah. Let's see. So are there any more questions about this tune? Because I've been like 1 hour or something. I think I can go over to the feedback. I always find it so weird. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like so many people here, right? But we only got 14 people like in the view count. It's always so interesting. There are more people here than that. Works. But yeah. You wouldn't buy the pack because you're broke? I don't know. I really want people, like if I release my like prized drum samples, then I want people to, you know, buy it because like why would I work really hard on these sounds for a long time and then just like give them out and then nobody cares. That would be really bad. Oh, you think? I don't know. Oh yeah, for marketing for sure. But I'm talking like when you're trying to make something, then it's best not to focus too much on that. Unless your task is literally to sound 80s. Which I'm not sure why it would be that, but yeah. How would you feel about putting stems for your tracks out to let the community remix them? I'm sure people would do some crazy things. Well, I mean, I don't really know. I've never really considered doing that. Like, I've never thought about that. Well, I wouldn't say that. A lot of people have asked me if they can remix this tune or that tune. I just always said no, because, like, I think I might push for an actual album remix EP at one point. But yeah. Oh, the phaser. Yeah, that's actually a flanger. So I wonder where it is. There it is. Dancing around like that. Awesome. What's up? What's up, Gyrofield? How are the chords / overtones on the second drop bass were made? Just flanger. Yeah, it's just a flanger. Like, you know, you just have like this distorted bass, and then like, you know, that's just the bass itself. So the bass itself is like a saw wave with a filter on it, and then just insane amounts of distortion. I wonder, like, it sounds distorted on its own already. Oh no. Okay, so without the distortion, it already sounds pretty distorted. Then I stack more distortion on it. Then the flange is like the final layer to add the motion to it. But yeah, it's basically just like, if you're trying to make something like that, just stack a lot of distortion on there. And you know, you hear like these little glitches. Like that right there. Basically just a DX bass distorted, and then you got that flanger on it as well. So that's kind of just how I do it. Like I add like a feedback thing, like a flanger with insane amounts of feedback, and then I distort it, and then it gives it that weird overtone, you know, almost like not even harmonic. This sound is so, like, this was so annoying to make, that one right there. And this balanced was so hard. Like, you know, it had to sound good, like with the closed filter like that. The filter was really low, and then it had to sound good. And the filter opens up. So this sound was just like really annoying to make. I probably spent like 2 hours on that alone, like just this. So dumb. This right here, probably one of my favorite beats ever. I love this stuff. Like this, I just live for this stuff. I need to, I'm gonna use that more, like this kind of build-up sound, like just so hard. Doom soundtrack stuff. I love Doom, like the original one. I don't know about the new game, no idea. Okay, so Jeb asks, how'd you make all the tracks transition into each other? Well, like, you know, like, it's pretty simple. I kept most of the tracks in the same key, right? So like if I go, I'll just open up the album here. First tune ends like, it starts in D major, right? Got D major, and then Contact starts in D minor. But then, it moves over into D major for a second, so like that's kind of a transition there. And you'll notice like it ends on a D minor chord. It's actually a D major chord, sorry. So like it ends on a D major chord right there on the piano. The D minor pad fading in. Then Golden Age can come in with the minor 7th like that. And it just works. Same key. And that ends. Then Interloper comes in with a different voicing, but still D minor, right? That's kind of how I did it. And then over on Wonder, there's like the first key change. I think this one's F, I'm not sure. A, I was wrong, it's A minor. Which is like, just the 5th, so that's why it works. Like, Wonder and the rest of the album are a 5th apart. It goes back to Brightest Night, which is in D, again. Right? And this song kind of establishes like this chord progression thing, like the stabby chord. And we go over to the next one, Star Oasis. So that's an F, and then that track is actually So again, it's just D and A, so we're just going between the fifths. And then this is like the true outlier. I think this one's actually an F. Yep. This one is like the least harmonically related to the other ones. It's also my favorite, I think. How I did it, I just kept everything in the same key, and that just works. So if you're trying to make a couple tracks work together, just go in the same key with them, and that'll usually turn out very well. You gotta make sure that all your tunes are thematically different. A Ride So, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Arida So, I guess. How long did it take you to get decent at music? I don't know. A bit. A couple of years. I haven't really thought about that. I just kind of make music, you know? But yeah. I mean, I think I'm just about done with this track breakdown. If you have any more questions about this tune, then let me know and I'll go through it. But yeah, the build up here. So this this is actually just a 303 ARP saw from Silent 1. If you open up Silent 1, that's literally like the first preset that comes out, and that's the one I used here. Sounded good, I guess. Has this sample rate reduction on it. So that makes it sound a little bit harsher. But yeah, and then the drum break is just like some clean samples and then a bunch of dirty layers under that. And those plucks, which are awesome. I love this type of beat so much, dude. Then you can hear the downsampling kick in, like over here. This thing. See the automation shoot up. Like suddenly it just goes like... Yeah! You know, the whole thing is like, this is like... frickin' 16-bit, like, old Windows 3 CPU stuff. Like, what if you made a banger on, like, a 16-bit system? I wonder what happens if you, like... What if you do it again? Like, what if you do it twice? Copy it on the master. Oop. So now it's true 11 kilohertz. Like nothing changes. It's just like that's definitive proof that this thing is like actually running at 11 kilohertz. I guess this pod would change where the things like they're being bounced. Like, you know, the concept is here like the main elements have like they're all downsampled to 11 kilohertz, and then the other elements are like downsampled to 22, so like nothing's actually full bandwidth. Like now you can hear it, but it's only affecting like the hi-hats. Okay, so the sample reduction EQs, they're basically just ironing out some of the heavier aliasing artifacts. Like, I'll open up the actual one that I'm using. So this is like, you can see like it has like these individual spikes there. These don't sound very good, so I just filter them out because I didn't really want to, you know, burn people's ears with my music. I wanted it to be enjoyable. So that's what's happening there. But yeah. Also, I love this effects section down here. Like, you know, when I make build-ups, I always have like these... I just have like a million effect sounds. Stuff like that. That's going. That's the kind of stuff that really makes a build-up sound fat, you know, instead of it just being like just a build-up, you know, that's like the cinematic effects stuff that's in the background and really makes it work. I think without that, it just sounds like really boring. That's what it sounds like without it. Yeah, that's like dead. So yeah, make sure, like, when your track is done and the arrangement works, that's when you can spam all the effect sounds you want and, like, try to create, like, an atmosphere. That's always what I do. I finish the song, and then I just do this. Like, I just put, like, a lot of, like, ambience and, like, effects sound down there. So, like, over here, even, like, in this break, I got, like, a little thunder effect. And that's actually just, like, modular synths recorded and then automated like that. So it's just, like, modular synth noise that's coming in. Same down here, I got, like, this little modular noise. Like, resampled stuff, I guess. So these little clicks, they come from, they're actually electrical induction recorded. So, like, this is, like, something a friend of mine did for a college project. He recorded a bunch of electrical induction samples. So this is, like, actual electricity. I thought that's pretty hard, I like that. Yeah, again, without this stuff, it just sounds kinda dead, you know? Like, it just kinda starts. Right? When you add it back in. Now there's some motion, now there's some tension, you know? Now things happen. Yeah, that's like a nice detail. I also have like this tape noise just for this part. Because it complements the retro synth sound very well. You always gotta build like a bit of a universe when you're making these tunes. It all has to like have a point, it has to be interesting, and just be like, you know, oh yeah, here's a breakdown. It always has to have like a bit of a world around it. I'm definitely using this sound more. This is so sick. Could just listen to that forever. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I think we can wrap up here and move on to the feedback. Like one more round of questions if there are any, but I think we've cleared up like pretty explained now at this point. But yeah. Wonder if there's anything I really haven't touched on. I guess yeah, these higher sounds. Like, let me see what's there. Wonder where I put those. Yeah. These are really just like samples. Like I have like these hit samples. Put these in and just layer them on top, like with the bass. That always fills it out nicely. That running hat pattern. tom. Pretty simple. Yeah, there's one more sound. This one. There's like a Half-Life sample there. I'm not sure where I put the Half-Life sample. Then you like this. That's like a Half-Life teleporter sample. It's also a big inspiration, like Half-Life, right? So these old video games, they all used like really down-sampled, like low sample rate kind of sound effects because that's all they had. Mr. Poppin' Fresh, thank you for the follow. That's all they had to work with back in the day. So like that's why this sounds so 90s and so retro, because it's using all these like down-sampled, you know, kind of sounds. That was a big goal for this project, to make something hard with all those down-sampling effects. But yeah, so I think that wraps it up for this tune. Yep. Guess I'm gonna close